Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast and a game between Fnatic's Reign versus Diginitas Select here on Tal'Darim Altar Game 3 in what I believe to be a best of 3 series. Reign spawning as the green Terran player here on the bottom left-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Select spawning on the top left-hand side as the red Terran. So Terran versus Terran once more. And this is going to be on Tal'Darim Altar, a rather large map, and we'll see what the players try to go for. Both players on Shakura's Plateau did open up with a standard 12 racks, followed by Refinery, followed by just your standard supply depots, and then trying to expand relatively early. I believe Reign did not get his expansion up and running as early, but he did complete it and was able to train up SCVs. Both sides did a lot of Hellion drops into each other's base, slowing down the economy and essentially making it so that the game was just drawn out a little bit longer, making tech a little bit more viable. Taking a look at what Reign currently building up a supply depot on the front door. He should be building a barracks here in just a moment. Meanwhile, supply depot being built a little bit further away behind the mineral patches. And there's that supply depot, as I mentioned, that Select is building. So this is once again Terran versus Terran, 12 racks, 13 refinery. Most likely we will see, I believe it is a 16 supply depot right after the SCV builds the barracks, and as soon as that is done, the players may start to deviate from their standard strategies or their standard builds, as most Terran builds look very, very similar to each other. SCV now coming down, and it will be scouting in the clockwise direction, or counterclockwise direction, as we also see Reign scouting in the counterclockwise direction, and it will be a little bit of time before Reign finds Select. Although Select is going to be able to come in here, poke his head in, and then see that supply depot. So Select, once again, being able to respond and react accordingly to what he sees here, as Xerxes is currently upgrading to an orbital command. Back in the base of Select right now, Dignitas Select getting that additional supply depot that I mentioned earlier. We should be seeing an extra factory as well, but we already have a reactor. So with that reactor already down, I'm kind of surprised that Select still has 100 gas in order to build that factory. Back here, the barracks is already up and running. Factory is already underway, as well as we may be going into Starport Banshee play. As I mentioned earlier, Starport Banshee play is one of those tactics where if your opponent is not quite on top of his game, could end up losing a lot of SCVs, giving you that stronger economic advantage that turns into a late gameplay advantage. We are now going into a reactor by Reign, though, so a reactor now on the barracks, perhaps to try to train as many Marines as possible. Already has a reactor on the barracks here by Select. So Select already one step ahead of him, as he is now training up more and more Marines. Dignitas Select now expanding at his natural expansion. We can see something similar will take place here in just a moment, as I don't see any extra production buildings. No, we are now going into a starport. So with a starport, we are going to perhaps see some Banshees, but I'm not quite sure which Banshees we will in fact see. And I don't know. I don't know who. Like when I say that, I mean I don't know who's gonna have the Banshees first. It looks like then again, Reign will have the Banshee first, as we already have the command center up by Select here, and yeah, a little bit of a slip of tongue, as I am tired. And yeah, this will be my last game for today. Anyways, Marines now moving out with those Marines, and it should be able to deter that SCV from sticking around. Both sides have a decent size army of Marines, but that is essentially it. 400 versus 350. The starport is now coming in from Select, so Select is now going into that starport, as I mentioned, but I don't see a tech lab yet by Select yet, so I know spoke too soon, and we are now having a tech lab being built for that one starport. The Hellions trying to back off, trying to make sure that they're able to line up some splash damage. Both sides engaging and battling out. The Marines are going to get toasted though, and it looks like the Hellions were not really able to get that much damage, as one Hellion once again going to get taken down, and another Hellion may join the rest of this army to try to maximize its damage. So 4 Hellions being very well microed, may be able to take down all of these Marines, and perhaps the other 2 Hellions as well. There, another 4 Marines have been destroyed. The numbers are now starting to even out, and now trying to finish off this last 1 Hellion here, and Select with the winning Hellion after everything else has been destroyed. But I could have sworn I saw a Banshee over here in just a moment, but nope, no Banshee at all. The Starport instead just trading up Vikings, no Tech Lab, as we are now going into that second command center. We'll see how Rain does this time around. He lost on Shakura's Plateau after trying to do a later expansion, then Select, so it may happen the same way once more. Hellions are now once again on the ready, but the Hellions quickly seeing that there are 2 Hellions here and want to back off. The Hellions do not have that blue flame research, so the Hellion is going to get destroyed very quickly. Down it goes. Viking and Marines now being added to the army. We can see more Vikings still being added there. We are also adding more Marines there, and perhaps some siege tanks as well, as those siege tanks will be able to deal siege range damage just in case there is any fortifications that he doesn't want to lose anything on. We are now going into the cloaking field research as well. So the cloaking field research by the Dignitas Select will allow a lot of Banshee harassment. I'm just looking where that first Banshee is. The first Banshee is already in the field, and it looks to just rain havoc down here. A missile turret is being built, so that missile turret going to deter that one Banshee from getting too close. But as I've said this before, the fact that the missile turret is so far away or so close within the mineral line makes it very difficult to try and just protect yourself from Banshees. Banshees have a superior range, so they are able to attack while not receiving any damage at all. And there you go. You can see the Banshee was trying to scanner sweep, trying to run away. It looks like the Banshee is now down to 52 hit points, and down it goes. We are going to have a couple of Hellions just hiding off here in the shadows on Tal'Darim Altar. It looks like they want to poke their head up the ramp and see what exactly is happening. And there is not much of anything going on. Siege tech now finally being started, and by both sides. As Siege Tech, a very, very critical portion of the Terran Mirror match. And it looks like, yes, a new Banshee now coming back in. That new Banshee dealing a lot of damage against that missile turret. That missile turret should not be able to see the light of day. In come the Marines. In comes a scanner sweep. And down it goes with 2 Vikings on patrol, as there are some Hellions and Marines down over here. Select going to quickly move in here, see no command center, and then he may decide to just retreat and try to regroup the rest of his numbers. Not quite sure at this time, as both players just sitting on one base with 1 expansion. Xerxes still has 1 command center up and running down over here. Refinery over here will most likely be coming in right behind it, but his production is still not really able to keep up. You can see SCV production. Xerxes, even though it should say he has 2, yeah, there's the 2 SCVs constantly trying to be built, but he's not really that far ahead. And this game is pretty much even down the line. 91 food compared to 75, though, as the harvester count is a 7 harvester count difference between these 2 armies, and both players are very just comfortable playing sim farm, being able to sit back, relax, and sit inside their base and build up the right measure of counter units and units before trying to make another move. Another reactor is going to be finished being built, as Vikings, Medevacs, SCVs, Siege Tanks, Marines coming in for rain. Meanwhile, Medevacs, Siege Tanks, Marines coming in from a Select. Marines once again on the move. They will be just simply walking up that ramp. The Marines do have stim pack. The Marines do have combat shield, and they look to deal a lot of damage. There, however, are 2 siege tanks up on the high ground. So if, yeah, the siege tanks are quickly scanner sweep and revealed. The Marines trying to push out, looking to get some damage onto some of those poor Marines. And oh, just getting within combat range there. That siege tank able to destroy that Marine, as more Marines are now coming back, or more tanks are now coming back in. The siege tanks of Select, though, now cliffing his opponent, trying to make it so that he cannot mine any gas off of the natural expansion here, and that is going to hurt him very, very much so, as the SCVs are also getting taken down. So Select playing very, very well. The first to try to siege up on the low ground and try to destroy his opponent this way that I've seen in quite some time. Marines are now stimming in as well, and just finishing off a lot of Vikings The Vikings looking to perhaps deal some damage back, but there's only a couple medevacs, and we are going to perhaps be getting an elevator drop. A siege tank now once again continue to move in, and this one poor command center is going to be very, very difficult to try to once again re-land. There is the destructible rocks, or no, sorry, there are no destructible rocks here. It is just an open expansion with, I believe, 6 or 7 mineral patches. Select now finally making a move with his large marine tank army, a very massive marine tank army, as the siege tanks just blasting apart all of those marines, and now just slowly going to continue to push their way forward. We are now getting a drop over here, so the Marines are now dropping on this side, but there was nicely countered by Rain. Let me go ahead and rewind that for you. So there was a bit of pressure over here, so the Marines are now pushing in, but the Marines took a lot of damage from that siege tank, and then were easily destroyed as now Select deciding to perhaps put some pressure on the front door. There are a lot of siege tanks over here on the high ground, so Xerxes is in a very well fortified position. However, I believe he can try to hug along this close tier, and then we'll be able to push in with those siege tanks without getting within the range of fire on those siege tanks on the cliff. Marines down here, and then another siege tank over here as well. The siege tanks finally unsieging, and now you can see that the siege tanks are once again re-sieging, as they do not want to be caught out of siege mode in the upcoming battles. We can see Marines and tanks continue to move around back and forth in between these two Xel'Naga watchtowers here. Army composition Select simply dominating now at 171 food compared to 110. Things are not looking good for Rain at all. You can see that the refinery is being replaced, but this one medevac is going to get destroyed as the Marines able to finish it off as well. This one medevac most likely will get destroyed as another push in happening here. Wow. Yeah, so it's a scanner sweep as those siege tanks now move out, and a perfect timing by Select. So Select pushing out. Siege tanks are now going to siege up over here, and now try to blast their way back up, but the Marines are just outside of combat range. The Select is going to be able to soften up this blow here as the Marines are now stimming back over, trying to get and trying to finish off the rest of Rain's siege tanks. It looks like the siege tanks are going to back off, but now it is going to be a bit of a pincer attack as these siege tanks and Marines may be able to push through. The siege tanks are in position. A medevac dropping it, getting dropped though out of the sky, and now Select coming back from an 0-1 deficit in this best of 3. Takes 2 games from Rain. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay and game 3 in this matchup. I know I missed a lot of drops. Yeah. Thanks for watching it anyways.